Hello and welcome back to my podcast, Becoming Your Own BFF. Here's how my process works with this. So I don't like to think way in advance about what I'm going to talk about or what kind of details I'm going to put into this. For me, it just works to wake up in the morning. I woke up this morning and I'm thinking, oh, what do I want to talk about today? And I had no idea. So I went through my morning routine, had my coffee, played with the dog a little bit, um, just did what I needed to do, morning emails. And then I took the dog for a walk and we were out. It's like, okay, I need to come up with a topic. What am I going to talk about today? And then usually, like 99% of the time, something just kind of goes, boop, this is what I want to talk about. And then I kind of formulate it and put it together. And what do I want to talk about? How does this relate to me? What kind of messages do I want to put through? And then I come here and I set everything up and I get the lights going and all the things. And it would be easier to just like hit record, but you got to do all this stuff. And I do like the purple lights. Those are really cool. So that was a great suggestion. Thank you, Marcus, my video guy. He's awesome. He told me about those and I really like the effect. My ADD. Oh, I didn't do my ADD meds today. I'm going to be all over the place. Okay, this is really going to be fun. Okay, so I came up with my topic, what I wanted to talk about, came up, plugged everything in, got it all ready, and here I am. So here's what I want to talk about today. And it's something that all of us deal with, all of us go through. It's common and normal for our human experience to feel this. And today we're going to talk about navigating fear. Fear, man, fear, that little death, the mind killer, according to Dune. I love that in the movie Dune, how they talk about fear that way. And it can be such an overwhelming feeling in our lives. And it's time for us to tame fear, to start looking at it in a different way so that it doesn't keep getting in our way. Fear is one of those things, and I talk about this in my book, that life gives us hurdles, but we have a tendency to turn hurdles into walls. And the universe, God, whatever you want to call that energy source out there, gives us the tools to get over the hurdle. But if we turn that hurdle into a wall, all of a sudden we're banging our head into the wall. And then we feel helpless. We feel hopeless. We feel like, how am I ever going to get over this? So that's why it's important when we deal with things like fears and insecurities and all the things that tend to creep in. This is why it's important to keep the hurdles as hurdles and really see what it is that's going on with these feelings. And fear seems to be one that just becomes so overwhelming, not just whelming, but overwhelming. So that's what I want to talk about today, how to navigate fear, how to tame fear. And the way I look at it, when we start this journey of self-exploration and personal growth and all those things, we do it a lot of times out of desperation, that we feel so out of control and so I don't know what I'm going to do, that we either have to make a change or check out. And you're here because you want to make a change. And I am so happy to hear that, because I know what it's like to be at the brink of wanting to check out. And thankfully, I made the decision to make a change, and all of a sudden things started to fall into place and went boom, 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 boom. It was easy for me to identify my addiction. That was the thing that brought me to my knees. But it wasn't until years later that I was diagnosed with ADHD. And then all of a sudden, everything made sense. Why all those things happened in my life, why I kept hearing from my teachers and my parents, you're so smart, why can't you just get your work done? I was like, I don't know. I look at a page and it's like, zzz, and I don't know why I'm not able to get my work done. But at the age of 50, I was finally diagnosed with ADHD. And it's funny, the psychiatrist I went to, she did the assessment. She said, I got to tell you, I've been doing this for a long time. You probably have the most severe case I've ever seen. I was like, woohoo, woo, I'm number one. And that's really not the thing I wanted to be number one on, but oh well, that's life. And then it's up to me to choose to accept it and move on, or fight it or try to control it, which doesn't work very well. Shortly thereafter, diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. Yay. And I found out that people with ADHD usually have anxiety or depression that go along with it. So, it makes perfect sense why I am like I am, and why I need to be more aware of these things in order to not let them turn that hurdle in my life, because those are hurdles. They're not walls, they're hurdles. ADHD is a hurdle. Now, if I don't do anything about it or I mismanage it, then it becomes a wall. But that part is up to me. I'm not in control of whether that hurdle is there or not. That hurdle just happened. It's not going to just go away. Being a drug addict, I believe that once you cross that line into addiction, you can never go back. So I am an addict today. I am an addict for the rest of my life. And I can either accept that or fight it or try to change it or think, ooh, it's been almost 40 years. Maybe I can have a drink now. But why would I do that to myself? I mean, the way I look at it, the dragon has been in the corner for about 40 years. I don't know if he's sleeping or if he's dead, but why do I want to go over and poke him to find out? I don't. So I just let him be. And it works really well. And my life is amazing. And I love what I'm doing today. And today, I don't let my fear get in the way. So let's talk about fear. One of the best acronyms I heard for fear is false evidence appearing real. And I love that one, because a lot of times we're afraid of something and we start to put all this energy behind it and building on what hasn't happened yet or may not ever happen, but we put energy into that. So there's false evidence about that appearing real. It's not real. At that point, when that fear makes its stand, it's not real. It's just what we think it is. So we can change that at any time. We're in control of that. I look at fear as being on a dimmer switch. The light is on, fear is on. But how much fear we have is totally 100% in our control. Fear is not going to go away. It's an innate part of the human experience. Our ancestors from hundreds, thousands, millions of years ago, fear is the thing that keeps us alive. Fear was that, before it was, the fight or flight response, and it kept us alive. Thank God for fear, because it was like, oh, dinosaur, run. If that fear wasn't there, it's like, oh, dude, what's that thing? And then boom, we're lunch or an appetizer. So be grateful for fear. If it wasn't for fear, we would not be here. But how much fear? What fear has control over in our lives, that is completely up to us. And you can change it. Now, again, I've been doing this for years. So for me, when a situation comes up, it's like, oh, what's that fear? Oh, fear. What am I afraid of here? And I look at it and dissect it and see what it's about and where it is. And usually the fear comes from something else. So when I can find that and deal with what the root cause is, then it's easier than just calling it fear as some innocuous thing that's out there. So let's talk about fear and the false evidence appearing real. At the beginning, when I was dealing with, I was so fearful. I mean, my anxiety was all over the place, afraid of everything. I was afraid to go right, afraid to go left, afraid to stand still. I had no idea. And thank God I had some mentors and guides and people around me who helped me. When I first got sober, I was in therapy for a long time, and it really, really helped, because it took what was in my head and gave an outside and was able to get an outside perspective from a professional on how much reality was based in those fears that I had and in the thoughts that I was having. So I am a huge believer in therapy when you're making changes in your life. I'm also a huge believer in journaling. I mean, I used to journal about what I was afraid of and what was going on. I got kicked out of college twice before I got sober, and then I got sober and went back to school. And the fear was overwhelming at times. Oh my God, why am I even going to school? I'm just going to flunk out again. Can I really do this? I don't know if I can. I'm not sure if I have the ability. And all those fears would start to play in my head. And I would go to therapy and I journal about my fears. And I'm like, wait, what am I talking about? I'm a smart guy. Yeah, I can do this. Let's do this one day at a time. Let's do it one assignment at a time. There's a test coming up. Would it be helpful to have a tutor for this? Or do I just go at it on my own? Spanish. Oh, man. To be a psychology major at San Diego State University, where I went, go Aztecs, I had to pass 3 semesters of Spanish. My brain, off of my medication, I don't do foreign languages. I mean, it just does not stick in my head. So I know how to say, donde está el baño, but that's about it. So I flunked Spanish a few times, and then I got sober and I took Spanish 101 again, and I flunked it. And I took it again, and I flunked it again, and then I took it again, and then I finally got a tutor, and I passed. And having that help really made me successful in doing something that I was having a difficult time doing on my own. So it's okay to ask for help. That's one of the biggest things of making changes and self-awareness and personal development. Asking for help is no longer a weakness. Asking for help as a weakness is something that ego tells us. That's what the bully tells us. Oh, you have to ask for help. You can't do this on your own. What's wrong with you? That's what the bully says. Our society tells us, suck it up and just keep moving forward. But sometimes we need help, and the humility of self-esteem says it's okay to ask for help. The best friend, what would your best friend say? Hey, you've taken Spanish a couple times and you haven't done real well. Well, maybe get a tutor or someone to help you who's really good at this. Isn't that what a best friend would tell you? Yeah. So why not do that? Go for it. Ask for help. You're going to be blown away at all the beautiful gifts that you're going to be given by asking for help. So it works. So fear moving right, fear moving left, fear standing still. It's common for all of us. And over time, I was able to see that my fears were not as great as I thought they were. I am much more courageous than I thought I was. I am, one of the things I found about fear, and I came up with this, I wrote a chapter in a book about leadership, and they asked me to do a chapter on courage. And I realized that courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is action in the face of fear. The fear is not going to just go away, but you can do it anyway. I was a professional speaker for over 20 years. And when people say, oh, I'm afraid of getting up in front of people and speaking, and it's a totally natural fear to have. And I ask people, okay, I'm a professional speaker. I get on stage sometimes in front of thousands of people. What percentage of the time do you think I feel fear before I get on stage? They're like, I don't know, 5%, 20%. You know what the honest answer is? 100%. 100% of the time, I would feel some level of fear before I would get on stage. It was just a natural part of it. But what I got to do was I was able to control that dimmer switch. The light was on, but I get to choose whether I turn it up full bore or whether I just leave it lower. You are in control of that dimmer switch. And by getting help and practice and patience, everything that you are successful at in your life didn't just happen overnight. It took practice. It took patience, doing it over and over and looking for ways to make little changes. I love doing that when I do coaching with people, looking at where they are and not saying, okay, let's make huge leaps. No, let's make little changes. Let's look at the way that you handled this situation. Give me an example of a situation that went well. Give me an example of a situation that didn't go well. And let's look at what you could have done different in order for next time that comes up, you're going to be successful. So I believe that we learn from every mistake if we want to. And again, when we make a mistake, we can either feel shame and try to hide from it, or we can feel humbled by it and look for, oh, wow, I really blew it. What can I do to make that better next time? And then we get to do it better next time. But fear, to let that run rampant. When I was talking about taming fear, I look at fear as kind of like being the wild stallion. And it's that horse that just wants to run free and wreak havoc everywhere. But after a while, and we build that trust with the horse, then we can get on its back and ride the horse and tame the horse. So it takes time, it takes patience, it takes practice over and over. You don't see a wild stallion, just boom, get on its back and it's tamed. No, it takes practice, it takes time, and takes patience. I don't do well with patience, to be totally honest. It's not my strong point, but I've learned, and it's much better now than it used to be. But I learned my favorite prayer, and feel free to borrow this if you want. My favorite prayer: God, grant me patience now. Yeah, I know. That's a good one, isn't it? But yeah, so I don't do well with patience, but that's the thing that helps to build who you want to be. And here's another thing that I learned about fear. And I talk to people about this all the time. Think of what the body's physiological reaction is to fear. How does the body react to fear? Let's see, heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, maybe sweaty palms, sweaty upper lip, senses are more acute. You're really aware of everything going on around you. You kind of feel this energy in your body when you're afraid. So that is the physiological response. Now I want you to think about, what is the physiological response to excitement? When you're excited about something, what is the physiological response? Heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, maybe your palms get a little sweaty, your upper lip is a little sweaty, your senses become more acute, you're more aware of everything going on around you. You kind of have this energy building inside of you. It's exactly the same. Fear and excitement have the exact same physiological response. The only difference is what you tell your brain that it is. Do you tell your brain and your body this is fear, or do you want to tell your body and your brain this is excitement? Now today, I wore my shirt from Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. Yes, I attended back in November. And it was one of the most incredible experiences of my entire life. Mind-blowing, just like, I think back on it, and there are certain songs that I listen to now, and it just takes me back to those moments. If you're not familiar with the band Dream Theater, their drummer is a guy named Mike Portnoy. One of my favorite drummers on the planet. He's actually my second favorite living drummer, my fourth favorite overall. And it's just amazing what he can do with drumsticks. Am I ever going to be at the level of a Mike Portnoy? No, because I'm not willing to put the time and the energy into drumming the way that he has. And he has a talent that's just way beyond most people. And I saw an email that there was a Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp coming up with Mike Portnoy as one of the people. I was going to get to play drums next to Mike Portnoy. And also I got to play drums to a Megadeth song with Marty Friedman from Megadeth, which was unbelievable. And are you ready for this? Are you sitting down? Well, it doesn't really matter. I get really excited when I think about this. I played on stage at the Whiskey A Go-Go with Zakk Wylde from Black Sabbath, Pantera, Black Label Society, and we played a Black Sabbath song, NIB. And I was on stage at the Whiskey A Go-Go with Zakk Wylde. It blew me away. So people say, were you scared? Yes, but what I told my brain, I'm excited. Wow, I get to play drums next to Mike Portnoy. Here, check this out. It's right here. You can't see it. This is my drum head signed by Mike Portnoy. How cool is that? Oh my God, I'm so excited. So, was I scared? Yes. As I got behind that drum set and sitting 6 or 8 feet away from me was Mike Portnoy, and we were about to play a Dream Theater song. We played As I Am by Dream Theater, and Mike said to the band, he said, what song are we going to do? And we're like, we're going to do As I Am. He's like, really? In 4/4 time? And we're like, no, we're going to do it in the timing that it was written in. He's like, okay, all right. And I turned to him and I said, hey, Mike, you know that drum solo part that's near the end? He said, yeah. I said, I am here to watch you do that. He said, no, you don't want to take the solo? I said, no, seriously, Mike, dude, I am so excited to watch you do that. I'm just going to stop and I'm going to watch you. He's like, okay. So I played As I Am next to Mike Portnoy. Did I make mistakes? Yes, I did. And you know what? It didn't matter. And I could have been in my head. My bully could have said, and probably was, but I wasn't listening to him. Oh my God, I can't believe you messed that part up. Oh, I can't believe that you did that. Oh, what? But my best friend was like, oh my God, dude, you're playing drums next to Mike Portnoy. Yeah, you just made a mistake. Big deal. Keep going. And I did. And then when the drum solo part came up, I stopped and I look over at Mike and he's looking at me, smiling, doing this solo part that was so insane. And he's like doing this drumming stuff. And I'm like, oh my God. I even turned to the camera. I was like, yeah. Still to this day, one of the top 3 moments of my life. I mean, it's kind of like there was the birth of my daughter, playing drums next to Mike Portnoy. Yeah, that's probably number 2. And then number 3, being on stage at the Whiskey You Go Go, playing drums with Zakk Wylde. Oh, and that was amazing. Was I scared getting on stage at the Whiskey, which I grew up going to the Whiskey? I saw so many bands there. And now here I am on stage. What do I want to call it? Do I want to call it fear or do I want to call it excitement? Damn straight, it's excitement. And I was playing drums, and there's Zakk Wylde, and I'm watching Zakk Wylde, and he was in the middle of this amazing, amazing solo. And what we were going to do, our camp counselor, if you want to call her a counselor, was Britt Lightning, who's the lead guitarist for the all-female metal band Vixen. And she was like, okay, we're going to play the song, and then at the end, Randy, I'm going to look at you and give you a signal to wrap it up. And I'm like, okay, fine. When I see you do that signal, I'm going to wrap it up. So we start playing NIB, and we're playing, and I'm watching Zakk Wylde, and he's in the middle of this crazy, insane solo. And Britt looks at me, and she gives me that sign. And I looked at her, and I went, no, he's still in his solo. And she looked at me. She was a little upset about it. But you know what? How many opportunities am I going to get in my life to play drums on stage at the Whiskey You Go Go with Zakk Wylde? One, and I was in the middle of it. So I just kept playing. She didn't like that, but what was she going to do? Fire me? No. So I'm still playing and I'm watching Zakk and he's just doing this solo. Oh, it was unbelievable. I have a video of it. I wonder if I'm able to post that online. I don't know. Oh, I can put it on my community site. Ooh, maybe I'll do that. Let me know if you want to see it. If you guys want to see it, let me know. Send me an email. And I'm happy to do that. My email address, my website is right there. It's randyhaveson.com, randyhaveson.com. And if you shoot me an email, randy@randyhaveson.com, I answer all my emails. That is a promise that I make to you. For now, I mean, I'm hoping that this community and this is going to grow to like thousands of people. And, you know, it might get to a point where I'm not able to get to every email, but right now I can. So take advantage of it and let me know if you want anything different, anything more, anything less. Just let me know because I want this to be for you. This is not about me. It's about you. So anyway, okay. See, I didn't do my ADD meds today, so I'm all over the place. So I keep playing and Zakk is doing a solo and Britt looks at me like with laser beams coming out of her eyes. Wrap it up. I was like, oh, okay. So he's still like in the middle of the solo. Oh, I was so torn. But okay, because there were other bands that needed to come on after us, I didn't want to be selfish and take up more time than we were allotted. So I start doing my ending thing, the cymbals, da, 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 and the toms. And Zach looks at me, and I gave him like this little shrug as I'm wrapping it up, and he wrapped it up, and we finished the song. And Zach got a great ovation. I don't even know. I was in this surreal state. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe I just did this. And again, was it excitement or was it fear? Oh, it's excitement. So allow those moments to happen in your life. And what you're going to find as you are on this journey of personal growth and self-exploration, you're going to find that as you're making these little changes in your life, more and more gifts are going to pour in. All of a sudden, it's going to be like, ooh, that was really weird, but really cool. Wow. And it's going to keep happening over and over. If I have so many incredible experiences that happen in my life, my friends and my family, like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened to you again. It's like, yeah, it just does. And when I'm grateful, stay grateful for the changes that happen and for the improvement that you make and for the gifts that life gives you. Gratitude is the key. And being of service is the other key. So go for it. Take control of that dimmer switch on your fear. Look at what it really is. You can do this. You're here listening to this because you want to make changes in your life. Maybe little changes, maybe bigger changes. Maybe you're listening to this because it's just an affirmation of all the work that you've done. And you just like hearing and you're nodding your head saying, oh, yeah. I do that. Oh, yeah, I feel that. Or if you're new and beginning and this is something strange and different for you, it's okay, because it was strange and difficult for me at the beginning too. But I know if I can do this and go from where I was to where I am, you can do this too. So I wish you all the best on your journey. If there's anything I can do to help or support, just let me know. Shoot me an email, whatever I can do to help. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And we'll see what comes up next week. But I had a lot of fun doing this, and I hope you got something out of it. So I will see you next time. And until then, have a great week. Have a great whatever you want to have. Have a great hour. Have a great day. Have a great week. It's really up to you. And yeah, life's going to keep throwing things your way, but keep your hurdles as hurdles. Don't turn them into walls, and you'll be blown away at the gifts that life will give you. So you take care. I'll see you around. Take care. Bye. I already said that.